What's up, Ludens? Welcome back to another episode of Ludens Query Report for August 8th. No, August 25th.
Oh man!
I was looking at my calendar. And it says 2021 8 25, and I was looking at 8 and August 25th. 2021.
Man, we went back in time. We have one.
Back to the
Went
future.
Travel back in time. Damn,
Okay.
what's going on?
My bad. August 25th, 2021. I'm one of your hosts, Moses, aka MojoCritical, and I'm joined once again by Ricky. What's up, Ricky?
What's up? Nothing much. Been an exciting day, I guess. Kinda.
Exciting day.
Depending on who
it
you
is
are.
an exciting day. It is an exciting day because we just had Gamescom.
Lots of news. Lots of trailers.
Lots of news and reveals. And that's what we're going to be talking about, basically the whole episode. So we're not going to get the typical live reaction from the news because you basically saw everything.
Yeah, we all saw everything. I saw it, so no surprises for me. No shocked Pikachu face.
Overall, how would you say it went?
It went personally for me. It was okay.
Yeah.
It has like majority of the stuff is Xbox content. So for me, it doesn't mean as much since I don't have an Xbox. That said, I'm not gonna lie. I don't care much about Xbox. I don't give a shit about Halo. But goddamn, that limited edition Xbox, I want it.
I know, man. I know.
I want that Xbox.
We're gonna talk about it. On today's report, we're obviously got Gamescom 2021 review. That will take up the chunk of this episode. And then the following news is basically news that came from the Gamescom. Number 2, Horizon Forbidden West gets a release date, finally.
Yeah.
And yeah, number 3, Halo Limited Edition Xbox Series X revealed with the Elite controller.
Oh, yes. So those, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I want them all.
But yeah, I guess we already started with number 1 Gamescom 2021 review. Yeah, so it was pretty okay for me as well. Was there any game that you saw that was revealed that was like a world premiere review that actually caught your attention? I have the whole list here if you can't remember.
The one that stood out to me the most, it's actually Cult of the Lamb. I believe that's published by Devolver, right?
Yep.
Those guys, they don't really miss these days. And yeah, so they said it's a roguelike, but at the same time, it looks like there's a bit of like farm simulator type of element to it. So that looks really appealing. Like stuff like Stardew Valley and all those type of farming
systems.
Management type of games. I've had an interest in those. I really wanted to get into one of those games. And then with that type of art style, and then you add a roguelike gameplay to it, that just like that is beautiful. Like one of those like chef's kiss. It's great. I'm really looking forward to that game.
Yeah,
I'm very excited for that game.
That was one of the ones that stood out to me the most because of its art style. They revealed it, and it was like in your face kind of art style. The indie, I wouldn't say isometric, but it is like top down view roguelike.
Kind of top down, yeah.
And yeah, it just looks it looks so good. You're a lamb that's possessed by a demon, and then you're trying to save like animals.
Like not even like you're not even saving, like you save them, but you're taking them as like cult members. They're worshiping you.
Yeah.
And then they willingly let you like sacrifice themselves for whatever god you're worshiping. You're working
you
for.
Are the
right?
god.
Like,
yeah, you are the
you're,
god.
Like, well, you're kind of like, I think you're like the avatar. You're like representing the god, or the god possessed you, whatever.
Yeah.
But they basically, you sacrifice animals or your citizens for that.
This might be the next, Hades that we come across.
Seems like it has a lot of dark humor in it, which is something I like.
It is definitely different, which, it's refreshing to see something like that. And I feel like in the past couple years, I know roguelikes and roguelites have been around for a while, but
Yeah.
I think because since Hades came out and it was a contender for Game of the Year last year, everyone kind of had it on their radar, and people that play Hades, they just can't deny how great of a game it is for
It is, yeah.
being a roguelike. And I have yet to play it, and thankfully it released for the PS5. So once I'm satisfied with what I've done with Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, I'll dive into Hades and finally get to experience that. The roguelites, I can't determine what either one is. Apparently there's differences, but anyway.
Yeah. You're gonna like it. If you enjoyed Returnal, then you'll like
Returnal.
Hades.
Returnal, that's my game of the year so far. Like I always have this itch to go back into it. And I think that's what the roguelite aspect is. Like you're itching to go back in and do another run. And it's all about the gameplay. It uses gameplay as the focus for the storytelling.
And it's cool how like now people, other devs are taking the concept of roguelike and kind of adding more stuff to it, or making variations of it, and which is what I think Cult of the Lamb will be like. It's a slightly different take on roguelike, or it's a much more expanded version of roguelike. So I'm excited to see what that game has to offer.
I think the appeal for the roguelikes and lights out there is it's going back to the old arcade days where you have to start again and kind of start afresh, but you already know what you're in for. It's the gameplay that draws you back.
It's a gameplay loop. You can just keep playing it over and over again. So that's why it's hit or miss. Like roguelikes are very hit or miss, because if your gameplay loop is not good, then people will get sick of it really quick.
Yeah, it'll fall apart.
Yeah.
Anything else from Gamescom? There were at least 33 games that were revealed.
There were a lot of games. So a lot of them just kind of like went past me. I didn't really care. Like Far Cry, Call of Duty, Saints Row, like all these stuff I don't really care. Although there's that weird MMO.
Yes, DokeV.
I forgot the name of it, but it looks
was the K-pop one.
Yes,
are you talking about the K-pop one?
The MMO of the shitty music. Yes. Music aside, the gameplay and environment, it's cool. It's interesting and looks like you can do quite a lot in it. I'm kind of curious. I'm kind of curious to see what that is like. But at the same time, it's still MMO, so I'm cautiously optimistic. Not saying it's bad. It's just personally, I'm not generally that into MMOs.
Yeah, I hear you.
That's why. Yeah.
There's a commitment to the MMO
and
genre.
The beginning of MMOs tend to be kind of dull and very grindy.
DokeV is like one of the top games that I saw that really caught my eye because of what they showed. They had the K-pop music. You thought it was shitty. I thought it was really catchy because that's what K-pop is. It's super catchy music. I don't know. I don't understand what they're saying, but it's the catchiness of pop. And sometimes people don't like the catchiness of it, but it caught my attention.
It's a different story. But catchy is one thing. I just don't like that type of like instruments they use. I'm not into that. It's just me being old and grumpy. I'm not into elitist. I'm not into like all these trashy music kids listen to these days. I don't understand it.
But DokeV, it looks so good. If you watch the trailer for it, what they showed at Gamescom,
it looked really good. Like the movement and animations and movement and all the actions for an MMO, it looks. It almost doesn't look like an MMO when I looked at it. I was like, what type of game is this? I don't get it. And
it looks like action RPG. Slash hack and slash or beat 'em up. Apparently, it's like a monster collection type of game, like Pokemon. That's why they have like the vacuums and stuff. I don't know.
Okay, I see.
But yeah, you watch it and you have no idea what the gameplay loop is gonna be, and I think that's a good thing.
That is definitely
different.
good.
But yeah, you wouldn't guess that it was an MMO when you're watching the trailer. And usually for MMOs, you have computer, animations that look kind of choppy, blocky, robotic,
Very, very
you
stiff.
know, yeah,
Yeah.
stiff. But this it looks so fluid, and you have so many forms of traversal. Like you have your
Yeah.
skateboard, longboard, an umbrella, hang glider. Like what the what the hell is this game? And it looks awesome.
It looks good, man. So yeah, I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah.
Once we are closer to the release date, we'll see. We'll see. No, look for
The
more
thing
details for
the
the game.
thing that might be a little negative was in the trailer alone. Like you could see the frame drop because
Yeah.
it was definitely stuttering quite a bit in when the action really ramped up. Uh, so we're gonna see how the performance is once it
Yeah, that is
releases.
the thing. And I'm
But
sure you can adjust the performance for better frame
yeah,
rates.
yeah. Well, looks good. Looks good.
It looks good though. It looks good though.
Anything else that caught your eye? I have the list here if you want me to remind you. We have similar tastes, so I can probably pick out the ones
Mm,
that I think you'd be interested in, or I'll just name a few that.
name a few you think I'm interested in.
This is what you missed this one. King.
Okay.
This was the very first game that was actually revealed. It was the
Yeah.
pre-show. King of Fighters 15.
Oh, I've been keeping up with it. Like, I went back and watched the trailer. Like, this is just a first long trailer. They show like some of the game mechanics, but in the past few months, they've been showing trailers for each character. So I've
Okay,
been
okay.
watching all of them. So I know, like what the game looks like, what characters are in it. So this trailer, it's nothing new to me.
Okay. Any interest in it though?
I don't really like how the game looks, but King of Fighters, the gameplay is always really good. Well, personally, I really like the gameplay in King of Fighters. It's not as
I see.
crazy as say like Marvel vs. Capcom or maybe even Guilty Gear because there's no air dash. But the overall pace is still faster than Street Fighter, so it's like somewhere between Street Fighter and Guilty Gear, and they have long ass combos too.
I see. I see. Okay, going through my list here. What are your thoughts on Midnight Fight Express? This is the game that was developed by the one guy.
Mm, it's so because based on it, my first impression is the shooting looks fine, but the melee combat looks a little too slow and stiff. Because there's the problem. Like not just this game, a lot of other devs they run into this problem as well. They are trying too hard to go for realism, and what they don't realize is a punch or fighting in real life it does not look fancy and cool at all. Like there's now it's lacking that flashiness and impact. That's what they don't realize. So that's why in this game and the what's it called Midnight whatever Express whatever
Midnight Fight Express.
Midnight Fight. Like the combat, it looks very kind of stiff and weightless. Like he is punching something, it works. Like there's nothing wrong with the animation, it's fine. But it's just for a game, for an action game, you want it to look. You need that oomph. You need that impact. You need that speed to it. So you have to basically make it to the point it's unrealistic. You have to sell the idea of that it actually hurts, and going for realism doesn't do it.
Here's the thing. How does it look for a game that was developed by one dude?
Looks alright. Like to me, I don't really care how many people it's made by. Like just because it's made by one person and it looks good doesn't mean it's something I have to play. That's how I look at it.
Right.
If it's a good game, I'll play it. If it's not a good game, I won't play it. Whether it's developed by one person or 1,000 people.
My take on it is that teams of people have made games that don't look as good as this.
Yeah, and that's why those are not worth playing.
And what I take away from it is that, okay, this is made by one dude. I'm going to try it because this is a game made by one dude. That's like the selling point for me. And it actually looks good. Good enough to play. And I would actually it actually looks fun. Looks kind of crazy and over the top and has a lot of different things going on and made by one dude. I'm gonna really see when it comes out. I'm interested in playing it, and then after I play it, and if I find out that this game is actually good, like this is gonna change how I see video games. Because like if one dude can make this, then like there should be really no excuses for large teams to come out with polished games. And I don't know, that's how I'm seeing it right now.
Although in terms of graphics, it is impressive that he's making that on his own. But I feel like as you go higher on the scale of graphics, I feel like the difficulty increases exponentially. Because you'll come into a lot more bugs and glitches and problems that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
Like the physics of the game changes drastically depending on how much stuff you're putting into the game. Stuff like Ratchet and Clank, like that world is crazy. So like that's why you need a huge team to make something like that versus what's it called again?
Midnight Fight Express.
God, I'm getting old.
No, you have a good point there. Because this is still an indie game. It is like kind of top-down view.
Top-down, very, very simple. But it's still like I'm not gonna take away any credit like this guy deserves. Like it's impressive that he's making this on his own.
And but when you have that fact alone makes me want to play it.
But when you have a game where graphics is not the focus, like I am really looking for gameplay. And if your gameplay it's not good, and I don't care how many people it's made by, then
Well, to me the gameplay actually looks cool and fun.
Yeah. Like to me, like I said, I have some a little small like amount of doubts about the melee combat because of what I said regarding animation. Like there is a reason why Devil May Cry felt so good playing it. Like why it feels so good slashing things. It's because they understand how to sell the players the concept of speed and impact.
Right.
Even though it's not realistic at all.
Oh yeah, with video games you have to have the unrealism in it, the suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of little things. It's a lot of like how do you manipulate frames. I don't want to get too deep into this, but like how do you use sound, frame stop, hit stop? How to hold like an animation for a second, stuff like none of that makes sense realistically, but when you put them into an animation, it creates that illusion.
That feeling.
That feeling.
No, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Okay, so we're getting too off topic. So let's go back to the games.
Next game. Does Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles interest you at all?
Yes. This is something I already know. They have actually announced this like a few months ago.
Yeah.
So this is nothing new to me. And in terms of the new character, they included April O'Neil. I felt like there are better choices.
I mean, with a game like this, there's sure to be unlockables, right? With beat 'em ups,
they should unlock more characters. Like, if anything, like first of all, like if you're gonna have a playable character outside of the 4 turtles, Splinter, it's one. I forgot the characters. There are a few other characters who can actually fight.
It
felt like those will be much more suitable for a playable character versus April O'Neil. And if she is playable, right? But in this case, if they're gonna put her in, I kind of wish she doesn't really use like punching kicks. It's cool she's holding a mic, but I felt like I wish she'll be using like a camera or other more reporter like items to attack. That would be more in character.
Right.
So that's a bit of a missed opportunity. But still, I'm gonna play it.
For me, I don't know. It doesn't interest me as much. Like, that's what I like about our dynamic. You like those type of games with like the old school, very classic gameplay. I, for one, I enjoy the AAA kind of generic type of games that come out like Saints Row and Call of Duty Vanguard. Like, I like those games. But I also do enjoy, not as much, but like those classic gameplay type of games. Moving
Although,
on the list.
well, I just want to say one more thing about Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
With the recent release of the Streets of Rage 4 DLC, I
Mm.
felt like any other beat 'em ups that comes out afterwards have a big shoe to fill. Have a
Really?
like yeah, because the Streets of Rage 4 DLC really changed the game to the point I'm just gonna say hands down best beat 'em up of all time.
Really? Really?
Yes,
We're gonna
they
have
have set the
to share
the
play
bar very
again.
high. Yeah, they have set the bar very high.
We're gonna have to share play again.
Yep.
So yeah,
Anyways,
quick anecdote about that. Like I played Streets of Rage 4 with Ricky, just all through the PlayStation game share,
game show.
and
Yeah.
you can like give the controller remotely to another person, and he did that for me, and we basically went through the
whole game.
whole game, start to finish in like one sitting, and that was fun. So
That was a lot of fun. All right,
that's the future.
yeah. Next game.
Next game, a couple more games, and then that'll transition us into our next topic. Lost Judgment. I know you're playing Judgment right now, and I think Lost Judgment is the sequel to that.
I am excited because, like you said, I'm like 11 hours into Judgment right now, or it's called Judge Ice in Japan. Kind of funny.
Interesting.
And I don't know, not much to say because I'm just expecting more or less the same thing as Judgment. And I heard it has a slightly more serious tone, which doesn't say much because the whole shtick with Judgment and Yakuza games is that the main plot it's serious, but at the same time it has a lot of really funny, wacky moments and side quests. Like they are masters in mixing both elements into one game, and it works.
Mm-hmm.
Like one moment you'll be solving some crazy murder mystery, have some dealing with some human drama. Next moment you're dancing with a chicken, something like that. So it works. They somehow make it work and in character. Like it's incredible. If you have never played any of the Yakuza games or Judgment, I highly recommend it. And yes, I guess that explains it. I'm excited for Lost Judgment.
Okay.
I'm gonna play it.
Yeah, Judgment has been on my radar for a while. Just never have gotten around to playing it because there's just too many. There's so many games. And then Lost Judgment, obviously, like that's on my radar too. I know that it's part of the Yakuza series, and the Yakuza I haven't played that, and it seems like it's difficult for me to get into that. Just knowing what's ahead, it's like okay, if I get into Yakuza, I'm gonna want to play the entire thing, right?
Yeah, Yakuza it's a little hard to get into right now, especially the original cast. But if you're starting with the newest one, Like a Dragon, that will be easier to get into since it's a brand new cast.
Yeah, and then one thing I wanted to add on to with what you're saying, like with Lost Judgment, there's not much to say because it's going to be more of the same.
Yeah,
I think that's not like I think a lot of people kind of overlook that as a positive thing. If a game does something well and then you want more of that, and the sequel or the next installment of that game is going to do the same things, a lot of people think that's like, okay, it's just more of the same. But like, why is that such a bad thing? I think that if it does those particular mechanics, gameplay, story elements well enough, and then you're just introducing newer, more fresh elements to that, more of the same is not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah, especially in this case, like games like Yakuza or Judgment, where the main focus it's a narrative, it's a story, which and that narrative is supported by a really well built gameplay. So when I say it's more or less the same, I'm referring to the gameplay.
Yeah.
Whereas the story, I'm sure it's gonna be something different, or it's gonna be a new plot, obviously. But we know the quality of the writing, it will be a good story, and that's why I'm excited for it.
Yeah, and I think that's why there's like this trend nowadays with the remakes. You got Dead Space remake next year. You had the Resident Evil 2 remake a couple years ago. Demon Souls remake. Everyone just wants the same stuff that's been done before, but like people buy it because it's the same, but it's it's got a fresh look to it. It's got a fresh feeling to it. You're coming back to it, and it's just more of the same, and that's awesome. And then now with the trend with director's cuts, it's more of the same.
It's both good and bad, right? Like I'm glad these games exist, but at the same time, like I still want them to make something different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
like obviously, like we like these games. That's kind of like a safe space we can go back to whenever we're not sure what to play or we're feeling a little down. So like, oh, okay, let's go back to, like, in your case, let's go back to Return or something you're familiar with. In my case, going to other games.
Yeah. We're
Like,
gonna talk a little bit more about the game space a little bit later on, jumping off of our second topic. But just a couple more games, and then we'll get into that. Shifu, do you have any interest in Shifu?
I am cautiously optimistic. Especially this trailer, when I look at the combat, because they haven't really shown how you actually how as a player, how do I engage in this game?
Yeah.
How do I execute in those attacks? Because from what I've seen, it looks kind of eerily similar to Arkham style. Is how the character jumps from one enemy to another.
Yeah.
That kind of bothers me a bit. In the case of Arkham, it's fine because Batman is supposed to be this like hyper competent type of character. He can do everything, so it makes sense that by pressing a few buttons, it feels fine. Batman doing fancy things, just taking down everyone. In this game, the emphasis is that you are a martial arts master. I want to feel like I am actually engaging in martial arts. So I don't want just that very loose and button mashy type of combat. And that is why I am a little cautious about this game.
Right.
Like, the concept sounds cool, but how the gameplay actually, it's like I don't know, like the fact that we haven't seen anything about that yet kind of worries me a bit.
I see.
So I will see. Like,
that game,
based on like visually alone, looks alright.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to wait.
Yeah, that game is on my radar for sure. I do like that Arkham style Batman combat. I'm going through Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, like I said, and it has that similar. You go from one enemy to the other because you're surrounded by enemies, and like it seems like Shifu is going to be kind of a mix of those two, because with Ghost of Tsushima you have like the different stances and does a different type of element to those. Being surrounded by enemies and going from one enemy to the other. It's not so button mashy. There is some strategy to it.
I think
Shifu will have some type of element to it that'll keep it engaging.
Yeah, I hope it's a bit more like tight, because even Tsushima, as much as I love that game, and I kind of give it a bit of a slide because it is an open world game. But I do think the combat is not as good as it can be, especially when you compare it to something like Sekiro. Where like the action, it feels like you are fully engaged with the combat. Whereas Tsushima, it's giving you a little bit of a leeway to let you experience the world, so the combat isn't as punishing. So that, I guess, for me personally, for Sifu, I want the combat to be more Sekiro-like versus Arkham-like.
I see. I don't think you're gonna get what you want. Just based off what I'm seeing.
Yeah, and that's why
I could go. That's the topic for another episode. But Death Stranding. Of course, we gotta talk about Death Stranding.
Why though? We all know everyone's gonna get the game. Everyone's gonna love the game.
Well, what do you think about the things that were revealed for the gameplay? What are your thoughts on it?
All the extra gadgets is cool. I loved it. Like all the catapults, the robot, you can ride it, your jetpack. It's like when I first thought, I was like, oh, okay, Kojima's ripping off Breath of the Wild. Instead of the parachute, you have a jetpack that lets you glide down.
It's not walking simulator anymore.
It's a Breath of the Wild simulator.
Now it's just full-fledged open world.
I welcome it. It's cool. I like it. And just imagine the jetpack with the my controller is being charged right now, but the haptic feedback. Yeah, just imagine like all those stuff with the controller. So all the stuff, it's cool. The VR missions is cool. Something more we can do. The new missions, I have some mixed feelings for it. On one hand, I welcome it. It's new missions. I want to see what Kojima does, but at the same time, I feel like he's trying maybe a little too hard to appeal to his old fans, Metal Gear fans. It has too much of a Metal Gear vibe to it, and it doesn't feel like it's Death Stranding.
I don't see that as a bad thing.
That's why I'm saying like I like it. At the same time, I kind of wish he didn't go back to that. It felt like he is like caving into like a small minority of people complaining. He's like, oh, this is not Metal Gear like enough. Like Death Stranding, it's a walking simulator, and Kojima is like, all right, fine. Here's Metal Gear with a Death Stranding skin. So now shut up. So I felt like that's kind of what the new mission looks like to me.
It's an interesting take. I disagree. I think he's just sticking to what he does best. You know, those type of missions. You know, Metal Gear Solid 5 is one of the best stealth games ever made. Right?
Like gameplay alone, yeah. Metal Gear 5, it's amazing. Yeah,
that's his wheelhouse.
Like he is really good at it. So no doubt, like no questions, he is really good at it. But just the idea of him putting that into Death Stranding is like, I was like, oh, that's
I think
interesting choice.
I think that it'll definitely add to the gameplay because when you're taking over in the original game, one of those, what are they called? The human enemies. I can't believe I'm forgetting what they're called. The mules. The freaking mules. The mule camps.
Yep, the mule camps.
When you're like taking over the camp, right? It does have that kind of Metal Gear Solid 5 approach to it because you kind of try to have to strategize and use the tools that you have at your disposal, but you know it kind of just plays out the same every time. You just take out all the mules, and there's not much dynamic approach to it. Whereas now this is inside a facility.
Yeah, it's indoor house. Yeah,
it's a different layer to the combat against mules and human enemies. The BT combat and encounters, like that's good.
Those are fine assets, right?
That's like a very interesting take on a gameplay loop, and adds a very good obstacle for your typical delivery gameplay. But yeah, I saw all the gadgets. I was like, this is cheating. This takes away like so much of what makes Death Stranding so great.
Yeah, like it's that engagement with the environment. Like now
you're basically exactly. You're jumping over the mountainous terrain that'll cause you to stumble and fall. Now that you mention that, but like it just I'm looking at it by piece, but overall as a package, like it makes sense because now there's the kind of VR mode that he adds and the competition aspect to it. You're trying to do the deliveries as fast as possible, right? And try to get a high score. And that's also a Kojima thing. Like you want to get the high score in particular missions.
See how like exploit everything in the game to get the best possible results.
So using the catapult at the same time, and like, all those things.
I don't know. Because the thing about Death Stranding is part where like one of the biggest appeal is how you interact with your environment. When you look at where you are and your destination, you have to plan out, okay, how am I going to get around this mountain? How am I going to get around this river? There's a bunch of boulders there. I have to somehow walk around it. But now it's just like, no, just catapult it for bloop.
Just catapult and get your jetpack, and that's it. You're good.
Like, I know there is zip lines, but to set up the zip lines, you still have to traverse through all these terrain. But now the catapult and flying, all the stuff, just basically bypasses all the stuff. So that's why I'm as excited as I am to see that. I am a little torn. And maybe I don't know how you feel about this, but what if these stuff it's only unlockable post game? You can only unlock these stuff after you beat in the game.
Wait, are you saying that's what it's going to be, or is
no? I'm saying like what like personally, that's what I want.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would make sense. Like that would actually kind of follow the Kojima formula, where you have these certain unlockables. Like in Metal Gear Solid, you had the stealth, gadget that'll basically put you into stealth mode.
Yeah, the
And
infinite
that's an
ammo
unlockable.
bandana and all this
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. So yeah, that could possibly be it, but it seems like kind of a tall order to unlock those things to go through the entirety of Death Stranding. Because Metal Gear Solid games, they're shorter than what Death Stranding is.
Still get through Death Stranding relatively quick if you just do all the
I guess.
main missions. Yeah,
I guess.
It took us so long because we keep doing extra deliveries.
That's
Man.
what the game is about.
We get addicted to it. It's like just one more delivery. Like you deliver, it's like it's like freaking 4 a.m. in the morning. Just one more. Let me deliver it. You go there. It's like they have delivery. You go to somewhere nearby. Like, okay, let me just make this delivery too. And then next thing you know, it's like okay, it's like 8 a.m. Okay, gotta go to bed.
Again, I could talk all day about Death Stranding, but this is a 1 hour episode. We gotta move on.
All right.
the next, but yeah, Death Stranding, super hype. Can't wait to experience the haptic feedback and the DualSense features on Death Stranding. Like I said before, in the past, that would be like the next gen experience for me.
Okay, next topic. Next
topic. Horizon Forbidden West. We're going from one exclusive to the next. So we finally get a release date. So in the Gamescom, we didn't even get a trailer or nothing, and I am perfectly fine with that. I was actually very glad they didn't.
No spoilers. They've already shown enough, man. We just want a date. Come
on. And we got it. So February 18th, 2022. Not too far away. And that's like 6 months, right? 5 months. And they actually didn't confirm that was going to be delayed. There was just a lot of news around it. But this actually confirms that it's delayed into February 18th, 2022.
Yeah.
And,
which I'm fine. Especially in this, like the times we're in right now. It's difficult to make games. So let's give them more time. And if they devs need more time, just don't worry. Please just come out and say, we're going to delay the game. Don't rush it out.
Mm-hmm.
Don't repeat the same mistake as a certain futuristic cyber like game.
Yep. Man, we were finally going to be able to experience Horizon Forbidden West, but this is making 2022 a really packed year. If this is
what else is coming up?
We got God of War Ragnarok. Horizon Forbidden. Oh man, please no, please no. We got Elden Ring in January.
Oh yeah, shut up! Forgot about that.
Elden Ring in January. This is not really next year, but like Halo Infinite's coming out on December 8th.
Yeah. All around that time frame.
We got like other games, like Starfield. These are like just all around in the gaming industry. Starfield. What is it?
That's gonna get delayed, man.
Dead Space remake, Breath of the Wild 2. These aren't all confirmed, and there is definitely a possibility that it'll get delayed, especially because COVID has not disappeared and doesn't show signs of disappearing anytime soon. But like there's a lot of games that are going to be coming out and in such a short amount of time. Like, if developers follow the past release dates of their own games, like I think God of War 2018 came out in March.
It's not coming out in March. Because we haven't even seen a single trailer for the game.
I think they're doing it smart that way, because like when you're building hype this early, like who knows how far they are, and I think that's the point of it. They don't want any kind of leak or anything to be done, and they're keeping it close to the chest until they know for sure. Like, okay, we can finally set a date. And it's gonna be coming out.
A realistic date.
And then they can start showing stuff within. Like they don't have to do PR on it. they just have the God of War name on it. They know God of War is one of the best games of the generation for the PlayStation
Well,
4.
people still want to see a trailer. No matter how big the name is, right? Like
Yeah,
Halo,
yeah.
Mario, people still want to see a trailer for it. Pokemon.
But yeah, that's a thing as well. Like, publishers definitely want to put out trailers for the games to build up hype for it, but like Sony in this case is the publisher, and they already know, like, they got it's solid. They already have the sales before the pre-orders even came out.
Maybe. Well, ideally, if I'm a publisher, I think you should release a trailer like 4 to 6 months before the game's release. Not too long, not too short, so that people you can build up hype, and then
Yeah, but the thing
you can
is,
maintain that hype until the game comes out. Because if you announce the game like a year in advance, people are gonna forget about it.
But I think the thing is with, like, that might have been the strategy before COVID, but now during COVID, you really don't know what happens within 4 to 5 months. Like, within 4 months, 3 months even, like, you can go from one wave to the next.
Yeah, you never know. It's a wild ride right now. So yeah,
and that, like, the number one factor for sure for the delays of these games is the remote work situation for all these developers, the pandemic just ravaging all the countries around the world, and putting a stop to any number of things for any business, right? So it makes sense that 2022 is a packed year because a lot of those games are supposed to be 2021.
They're delaying it to 2022, and who knows, some of those might be delayed to 2023 depending on the situation.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
Yeah.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. But for now, Horizon coming up in February.
And the thing is, I
18th.
love being in this space because I don't know anything about the game. They had a state of play. They had the reveal trailer, and I already forgot what happened in that reveal trailer.
And they have a gameplay trailer, right? I didn't watch the gameplay.
Yeah, the state of play for the it was like 18 minutes of gameplay.
Oh yeah, I didn't watch that. I was like, I don't want to see any of this. Come on, man, save it for that. Save it for when the game comes out.
The actual experience for myself, and I'm finding that very hard to do with what we're doing now. The report is all about gaming news, and that's big news.
Oh, got no choice now.
So I'm trying to figure out.
That's why when they release the God of War trailer, you got no choice. You gotta watch it. You gotta watch it. Get spoiled.
The thing is, I think what Sony has been doing with their trailer and reveal strategy, if it's not a gameplay reveal, they'll have like a cinematic reveal or a story trailer, and those trailers won't show up in the games sometimes. It'll be like a separate thing. I think for like the initial God of War reveal, that was like a standalone kind of separate thing. I think so. Like, I don't remember. That definitely was not in the original game. Like the original game started different. The trailer was like Atreus playing with these dolls, and then like gets called into the house. But in the actual game, they're at the pyre for Atreus' mother, and it's more solemn, right? So it's completely different. Same thing with Last of Us Part 2.
I was just gonna say, like, part of the trailer that didn't make it into the actual game.
So who knows? Maybe the next God of War trailer. I prefer publishers do their cinematic trailers that way, that we get something that's outside of the game that we're going to experience. It actually adds to the lore of the game, and like that's how it should be done, instead of like sharing the story beats from one game to another. But finally we're getting Horizon Forbidden West, February 18th 2022, just in time for my birthday. That's going to be a good week. Also, I guess I should mention this, Shifu comes out like 4 days later. I don't know how smart that is, but that is what it is.
Maybe you're banking on Horizon getting delayed again.
But for like the month of February alone, I saw like the release dates that were confirmed.
There are a few games.
It's kind of packed, depending on whether you play these games or not. Destiny 2, like they had like their own event this week. You know, you and I, we're not Destiny 2 fans. It's been like 3 or 4 years since Destiny 2 came out, but apparently like this is a really big update, and it's releasing in February. It's called like the Queen Witch or something. The Queen Witch.
Which queen?
Queen? Something like that. That's in February as well. And then there's like a joke with Breath of the Wild 2 because of how close the release is with Horizon Zero Dawn in 2017. People are saying like, oh, it's confirmed. Like Horizon Forbidden West is confirmed February. Okay, we're gonna get Breath of the Wild 2
in February. Let's go.
Oh man, I just hope that. Well, I don't hope it, but like, I was disappointed that Breath of the Wild won. I actually personally didn't play Breath of the Wild, so
Game of the Year.
Game of the Year in 2017. But yeah, like Horizon, when it released, I really loved that game, and it was a great experience. I've yet to try Breath of the Wild, so I don't know. But anyway, from one exclusive to another, we're gonna talk about Halo. Number 3. So, a couple things with Halo. Halo finally gets its release date, December 8th, 2021 this year. Yay. And it's releasing with its campaign. And there was a lot of talk.
But no co-op mode, though.
But no co-op mode. There was a lot of talk that like people were thinking, oh, they're going to delay the campaign again. An interesting thing, like they've already said so much news about the multiplayer in the past month for Halo. But in Gamescom, they talked more about the multiplayer. So I expected to see something for the story, at least with the campaign.
Yeah. They showed like a quick trailer for the campaign, right? Like at least that's what I think it is. I don't know.
No, that was actually part of like the multiplayer thing.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't. You can tell how invested I was into the whole trailer. The whole segment.
They got, I guess, the campaign's coming out. And I remember in our previous report, we were talking about how they should delay it so that they have the co-op tied together with it.
Yeah.
Right. But better news and surprising news for both of us, I guess. Halo Limited Edition Xbox Series X that was revealed with the
controller,
Elite controller as well. Like, for those of you who don't know who we are definitely like people that prefer the PlayStation. Like look at our podcast name. It's called the Ludens Query. Ludens is a Kojima thing, you know.
It's saying us prefer Sony or PlayStation. It's putting it very lightly.
It's light, but you know, like I said, I've been saying I'm reformed because I'm liking a lot of what Xbox is doing, especially this limited edition Halo. It makes me want one.
I know, like
our friend Mr. Picard Bottoms is probably laughing his ass off just if he's listening to this. Like, if this makes me want to get an Xbox
Series X. I'll say this much: the regular Xbox Series X still looks like trash. It's dumb. It looks like a freaking modem. I hate how it looks. There's no creativity. It doesn't look good. I don't want to see one in my room. But the new one, though, there's a limited edition. It looks nice. Not gonna lie, I want it. You
gotta give credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
That
especially coming beautiful. From someone who doesn't give a damn about Halo. I don't care about Halo.
That will look good in your collection, eh?
It still looks nice. If anything, I'm more interested in the controller than the actual Xbox.
Yeah.
I do want a good controller to play on the PC. Because right now I just hook up my PS5 controller to the PC, but some older games on Steam actually doesn't. I guess I can get around it, but I should say the button prompts. The button prompts they uses the Xbox button prompts instead of the PlayStation ones. So sometimes when I get into QTEs or anything, I get confused. So that's why I want a good Xbox controller for PC.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Elite controller that looks dope as hell as well. Like it makes me want Sony to like step it up, man. Like,
I know.
okay,
Like
yeah,
the
we got the
PS,
red and the black controller, and
yeah, the
you
controller.
got
Like,
your
give us something
colors.
cool, man.
But like, come on, man! Like, how many exclusives have come out for PlayStation so far? And we haven't had like a single limited edition thing related to
I
the
know.
PlayStation, right? And the PS5 itself has the shells. Like, this is the easiest thing to make limited edition
Yeah, you can
things
swap to the
for.
shell, and even the SS, the PS5 looks beautiful. Like I don't think it really needs that much more. It looks like elegant. It looks unique. It stands out. But yeah, if they release some extra cool looking shells, then I'll get it too. But the controller though, the controller, like you said, we need some exclusive or special edition. Give
Yeah,
us a give us a Death Stranding PS5 controller.
yeah.
Come
That's
on, man.
Stranding. Come on, that's like
Give
the
us the
perfect.
Horizon controller. Give us the Tsushima controller.
I think God of War will finally be the game that'll give us a limited edition thing because they do that before with God of War when it released. They had the limited edition PlayStation 4 Pro with the controller, and it looked different and everything. But yeah, like like the DualSense, that's my favorite controller.
It's great.
But
I want more.
when you come on, that Xbox Elite controller. I'm not even a Halo fan either. It looks so cool.
It looks cool, man. It looks really cool.
And
Yo,
and I think that's
just
the thing that
and
Xbox has over PlayStation. Like,
yeah,
the fan service for
yeah,
you
yeah,
know the
definitely.
collectibles and
They know how to
owning.
appeal to the nerdiness of fans. Like this is what fans want. Like it's stupid. It's just a controller. They're gonna charge us more for it, but it's a Master Chief controller, right? Or it's a Halo controller. Like
It looks damn
it's
good,
it's
man.
just a stupid thing, but that's what gets us. That's
Yep.
what gets us to waste money,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we're
Yeah.
happy about it. And especially if you look at Sony, they have so many exclusive and unique IPs they can utilize. Like imagine a Bloodborne controller, Death
It-
Stranding, like we said, Death Stranding, God of War, Ratchet and Clank, Uncharted controller. Come on, Last of Us controller.
I know. I only need one, but I'll get five.
If they release if they release one for all of those games, we'll be broke by now, and there will be no regrets.
I'm already broke. I'll still get it. Well, a funny thing is that remember Rico?
Yes.
He messaged me and he said that he got the Halo edition for the Xbox Series X.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just before
today.
just before we got we're doing the recording. He's like, "Hey, tell Mr. Picard Bottoms that I got a Xbox Series X."
I wonder if it's sold out yet, though. Yeah. I
Oh,
wonder
I'm
if
pretty sure it's sold out. Come on, if people like us want it, come on.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. So I guess it's too late. I should have. Well, I don't know. The if anything, I want a controller, but the fact that it's a $200 controller scares me a little bit.
But the thing is that it's a great control. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever tried back paddles before, but they really improve like gameplay experience for a lot of different games. Like even if it's a minor thing, I remember playing through Monster Hunter World, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
like that was so useful for that game because the attack buttons are the face buttons, but you also like for fighting a monster you have to look around, move the camera a lot, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's cumbersome. But I map the back buttons to the attack buttons, and now I can move with the camera at the same time as attacking, and it really improves the gameplay aspect of that and your kind of performance in the game.
Alright.
And then namely for
So-
like shooters and different things like that.
Well, I don't play shooters, but still, okay. After we're done the recording, I'm gonna hop online and see if I can still order the controller.
Oh boy.
Well, I'll do it live on your stream.
And the Xbox Series X, how
No.
tempted are you to get the Xbox Series X?
Out of 10, I'll say like a 6.
6. But the
because
controller, you're
controller I
like an
really
8,
want.
like a
Yeah.
9.
Because realistically, I don't really need an Xbox. Because like, what am I gonna play on? I can play everything else. It's the same games
That's
on
true. That's true. You got
PC
Game
on
Pass,
PS5.
but like,
Yeah,
come on, it's not about what you're gonna play it on. It's about what it's gonna look like in your collection.
I can. You know what? I can use that in my room during wintertime. That would be very useful.
That, but the Xbox fridge, like you're set.
Yeah,
You're
perfect.
set.
Yeah, it's perfect. Yeah, I'll be set, man.
Yeah, like after this Gamescom, it really like puts a spotlight on PlayStation to like come out with something,
Yeah, man.
like some type
They
of
like
event. We're almost at the end of the year. We're like almost 3 months away until the 2022 comes, and there hasn't been
they
a major PlayStation events or
yeah.
PlayStation announcements. Like we have these little articles here and there that we talk about on the report. Herman Hall says there's 25 games in development, 25 IPs, half of which are going to be new IPs, and like there's 12 studios. Like they have things cooking, and they have
You
games
just gotta
coming
see
out
it. Yeah,
that we still haven't seen things from, like God of War,
yeah.
and all those unannounced games. But they're still in the dark, and like it's just showing. Like this year, I gotta give it to Xbox. Xbox is really coming out swinging right from the launch of the Xbox Series X, the next gen consoles, like the Game Pass.
Although, like thinking about it, like like they Xbox is like their events are showing a lot of stuff, but what is actually exclusive to them? Because most of them are third party games.
I'm
So
not an Xbox guy, so I can't tell you.
if anything, it feels like to me, Xbox they're just announcing a bunch of games that's also available on PS5. But it's
They
like it's almost as if they're like like showing that
like
like
they
these are
have
our games, but it's not really.
Death's Door. That's an Xbox game. I think that's a third party exclusive. But like it's different when you're talking about Xbox and exclusive because all those games are on PC. Every single game can be played on.
It's on PC,
PC,
so it's
right?
it's
But
it's yeah,
like
it's a little
exclusive
weird.
to the Xbox name, I'd say, because now you have Game Pass and you can play that anywhere. So like
Yeah.
Xbox exclusive, it has a little like kind of fine print to it.
So
But
that's
that's
why
not
I
a
guess
bad thing.
yeah, it's not a bad thing. Like if anything, they want to show off as many games as possible because that is the selling point of Game Pass.
Yeah, they have been coming out with a lot of games that you cannot play on PlayStation. But they haven't been amazing games. They're good games, decent games, but not amazing. Like they have the Ascent.
Yeah.
These are like small games. The Ascent, Death's Door. That's like Game of the Year contender from what I'm hearing. Psychonauts 2, although that is multi-platform, you can play it on PlayStation. I think that's an Xbox Studios game. That's like owned by Xbox themselves. I'm not too sure. I could be wrong on that, but yeah, like each event, Xbox has shown up, and each event, like they might not have the most games that are amazing to show, but at least they have something to show that,
Yeah.
and at least one good announcement, right?
Usually, yeah. Well, to be fair, it's so far it's just Gamescom and E3. These are the two events that were kind of dominated by Xbox.
Yeah,
And I think
yeah.
that's why we have this feeling because the last two events is all Xbox, essentially, with the
Yeah, but
exception of Death Stranding. That's pretty much it. Right? It's just all, yeah, it's mostly Xbox. PlayStation. Well, to be fair, they've already announced a lot of stuff like last year, like Horizon, God of War. Like PlayStations have already announced all their big hitters. So it's like I feel like they've already done their part. And that also goes to show how far behind Xbox is. Because we're in second year into next gen, and now they're finally showing up to the party.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So it comes down to perspective on how you look at it. I feel.
Yeah. Now that I'm thinking about it, like, again, like obviously, as a PlayStation fan, I want to see and be updated, and see some megaton news, some reveals and trailers, and get some hype around PlayStation. Like I don't feel that kind of hype coming from PlayStation. Like they're releasing really good games, right? But then like a month later, we're not talking about those games anymore. Like we had Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart for a month. That was a really good game, and then we move on. Returnal was a really great game. After a month, we move on.
So,
And like the hype levels surrounding a game release aren't that high compared to when everyone comes together for an event or a reveal, and we all collectively get hyped together. Like the gaming industry gets hyped together, right? And I think that's the thing that we're missing. But at the end of the day, it's not a bad thing. PlayStation is going the route, I think, of under promise, over deliver.
yeah, or they will announce they'll have an event when they feel like they're fully ready. Because when you think back to all the like legit full size, full length PlayStation events, they are usually just showing us banger after banger, just all stuff that are like high quality stuff, appeals to to a certain group of people. So I think they're just waiting for the right moment. Once they have enough trailers, everyone is ready, then they'll just give it to us. At least that's what I'm hoping. I'm just hoping
What
right
if
now.
we never get it? Like we're just gonna get games and that's it.
I know.
Would you be fine with that? Would you be fine without like announcements of games and they just came out with the games? It's like, hey, next month we're gonna release this game, instead of like one collective event where they reveal all these games.
Might be okay too, because honestly, a lot of the games I follow, they just release trailer at their own pace. These Robot Wars,
state of play.
Yeah,
like
for me, like Super Robot Wars, they do their own events. They review trailers at their own time. The Legend of Heroes Trail series, those games, they review trailers at their own time. They do have their own event. Same thing, right? So a lot of the games I play and follow, they don't really take part in this whole big conference thingy. They just do things at their own pace. So if they decided to do that for other games, then that's fine for me too. Naughty Dogs want to have their own little Naughty Dogs event and pay tribute to Uncharted and unveil whatever new project you're making, and sure, that's fine.
So my last thought on this before we end the show, I've been listening to this audiobook called Atomic Habits. Good book if you want to kind of change some habits in your life that you feel like should be changing. It talks about when you're developing a habit, the reason why certain habits or certain things you do, you keep doing them is because of dopamine that gets released when you do certain activities. Like when you're playing a video game, you like it a lot and you enjoy it, dopamine levels rise in your brain. But it's not as high when you're anticipating the actual action of what you're going to do that you're going to like. The anticipation of playing that game that you like, the dopamine levels are actually higher in your brain because of that hype.
The hype. Yes.
And when I'm thinking about all of this stuff, I'm like, okay, I guess I'd be fine with when the game's finally released, but like that's why we want these. That's why we want these events. We want to get hyped.
Man. That's why back then at E3 every year, E3 is like, where's the Megaton, man? Where's the Megaton? People want that dopamine.
Like I heard that, and I'm like, oh, that's why we want all these events. That's why we crave news and some reveals, and why we're disappointed when we don't see something that's like, oh man, I can't wait to play that game. And yeah, like Gamescom and E3, I'm learning now, even after years of watching these events, like, okay, they got to cater to a wide range of demographics and different players' tastes. And, people's tastes are dramatically different from one person to the other. So, of course, the majority of the stuff that we're going to see...
only cater to me, and everyone else's taste is trash.
That's why the majority of the news that we get, we're like, it's okay, because
It's
only
okay.
a handful of stuff we're interested in, and that's the majority
Yeah.
of people.
Yeah.
So now I'm coming into these events when I'm watching them. It's like, okay, let me just be open minded about all these type of games. You know, what kind of gamer does this appeal to? And is that me? If not, that's fine. That's for
Yeah,
someone
that's
else.
fine. Yeah, people, it's. I'm sure some people will like it. They will enjoy it, and that's fine.
Yeah,
I don't have to force myself to like it yeah, to
yeah,
like
yeah,
it
yeah.
or accept it,
Oh,
which is
I
fine.
think. Oh, did my stream cut off there? Anyway,
First,
I guess that's a good a good time to end it. Yeah. So that has been our Ludens Query report for August, not 8th, but 25th, 2021. Talking about Gamescom. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Definitely leave a like and subscribe to our channel if you want to be updated on all the news that we're talking about in the Ludens Query reports. Ricky, where can people find you?
you can find me at twitch.tv/BaconBeercan. I stream there, say like 4 days a week, 4 to 5 days a week, usually around 10 p.m. Eastern time. I play all sorts of weird Japanese games and some mainstream too. So yeah, come and chat.
Okay. And again, I'm Moses, and you can find me on twitch.tv/MojoCritical. I stream these events that happen, like Gamescom. I did stream that earlier, and I restream. Usually, I do the restreaming of the two of us, and I stream these reports when we record them, and then we'll have a little post show talking about all the things that came up in the report with the chat. And yeah, so come on by, have fun listening to it live. If not, you can find these reports on YouTube at the Ludens Query channel on YouTube. So come by, visit us. We also have different types of videos there for your viewing pleasure. And these will also be on podcast services, whatever you prefer. Search us up at the Ludens Query podcast, and we'll be probably there. Again, thank you
Hopefully.
guys for watching. Keep playing, Ludens.
See you next time.
See you next time.